What is up, my Little Deinos? Vepsis, your coach of the Helsinki Hydreigons, and we are here for the UBL Season 3 Week 6 battle versus SareneGrace and her team with the Chicago Shaymin Sky. Make sure to check her channel out. That link will be down below in the description, of course. And big shoutouts to Automatthic, who recorded the game for me this week. His YouTube channel link and Twitter account link will be down below in the description. Good friend of mine who I've been known for over 3 years, close to be 4 years by now, in the Draft League community. And I do want to mention that he did make to the WBE by replacing, I believe, Mo after he dropped out. So make sure to check him out and his Draft League content that he's able to provide from the UBL and from the WBE from here on out. I'm very happy for his opportunity, which honestly, with his hard work, with his YouTube channel, and with the Draft League website that he has able to come up with, and now several leagues, including this league and the WBE is using. This has given him the great opportunity for him to be part of that league. So make sure to check him out. I would really appreciate it, and I'm sure he would as well. And lastly but not least, I do want to mention the GFX Maker here on my channel regards to the layouts and thumbnails and everything like that. Make sure to check out SlackOut. His YouTube channel link and Twitter account will be down below in the description. I would really appreciate as well. He does his own traffic content as well, so make sure to check that one out as well, or him out at this point as well. And getting all that aside, very last thing, let's go through the team of 6 that I'm bringing. If you want to know more in depth that I'm bringing regards to the movesets and items and such, the team builder video should be popping right about now on the top right hand corner as a card. You can also check it out after this video if you're interested in. It should be the video that has been uploaded prior to this one, but we are bringing Alola Mach, Diancie, Greninja, Alomomola, Moltres, and Dragalsi, as my opponent is going to be designed to bring Mega Lopunny, Electros, Sylveon, Mandiboss, Shaymin, and Victini. But now, let's get on with this. We have spent enough time with the intro shenanigans and all that stuff. But I'm gonna be leading off going to this game with Alola Mach, and I want to mention that thank God she did not bring my Kryptonite, being the QM that she had on her roster. If you do not know for what, and haven't heard me to talk about this on Team Builder video, which I uploaded to prior to this one, I am very afraid of that one in Draft League format due to the RNG factor being able to freeze and crit me several times in the past when I had to go up against it. So I'm very happy that I don't have to deal with that thing and worry about it being able to do that again. But knock on wood, hopefully nothing else can do that versus us as well from the team of 6 that she brought. But because she led up with her Mega Lopunny, I'm gonna be swapping into my dedicated counter that is a fully physical defensive and max HP Kanye West, the Alomomola with the Rocky Helmet, and we are able to do probably more damage to it with the Rocky Helmet that she was able to do with the Fake Out. So Kanye West did perfect job in turn 1, even though we got the lead wrong with the Alola Mach being out of the field versus the Mega Lopunny. And now, because I knew the Shaymin would be very easy switching for her to do, I went into my Moltres, and here I go for the Toxic, but she makes a very aggressive play, which I don't agree on hindsight that she did that just for getting a lead seed off, but it's gonna work out for her because, as you can tell, I went for the Toxic predicting something like Assault Vest Electros to come in to take any one hit and force me out, or potentially something like a specially defensive Mandiboss or Sylveon or Victini or what have you, but she decided to stay in. But now I'm gonna punish her for that and go for a second consistent Toxic, because now you're not gonna stay in. You made a very ballsy play to make versus a Moltres on a previous turn, but I'm gonna get that one back and go for that Toxic, and we do get that right versus the Electros. And here, in a hindsight, I could have stayed in and gone for the Roost and get rid of my flying typing and able to eventually 1v1 this Electros and wear it down. But I didn't like the fact that I'm lead seated at this point, and it's gonna be a very long progress for me to do. So I rather go into Dragalsi immediately, hoping that she would go for the Thunderbolt, which is relatively free that I didn't bring my Crown types, for example, but she does go for the Super Fang, which does cut my health in half, which kind of sucks. But because he's being poisoned by the, or she is, with that male Electros, we are able to go for a Venus Shock, which is 130 base power thanks to the poison, and we are able to wear it down to the point that Toxic will get it down. But because she was able to go for 2 consistent Super Fangs, I'm literally at 25% of health at this point, which kind of sucks, because Dragossi would be very useful for breaking down her other mons, but it's also in a position that it cannot leave any one hit from Mandibus, for example, because Knockout would actually kill me. So the only mon that I can Wish Pass into would be versus a Shaymin, which is not going for a Earth Power, and that is something to keep in mind going forward. But speaking of Shaymin, that is going to be the mon that she decided to bring after U-turning from my Diancie coming in, and based on that damage, it's definitely not Choice Bandit Victini, so that is something for me to keep in mind going forward, and you as well now following the battle afterwards. And now she does get the Shaymin in, and she is gonna be going for the lead seed. I knew perfectly fine that she would go for it, but thanks to my pressure ability, she is gonna be able to use a lot less lead seeds that she is able to do normally, because lead seed has 16 PP. But if she's only able to use them versus Moltres, which is my dedicated way for play around that, she will only have 8 PPs in total throughout the battle. And from those 8 PPs, which technically she can only use versus this mon, which is out of the field, 2 of them are already being used. And in a long run, we will be able to beat this 1 versus 1 scenario. I did the same play as last time. I went for the Toxic, assumingly that she would swap out, and even if she stayed in, I'm perfectly fine with it, because I'm gonna be going for the Roost as she got the lead seed off, and now she's gonna be going for the S-Slash, but because we are fully specially defensive with max HP as well, Moltremort is like, oh, that was a nice Summer Priest. It's a little bit hard over here, even though it's a fire type, and then she can just go for the Roost and feel a lot better about himself at this point. And we are basically about 80% of health, I would guess, or 85% of health after the lead seed recall that we have to take, but I'm perfectly fine with it, because now I have a free flamethrower right in front of me, and even if she happens to swap out, I'm taking the chip damage that I can get. If the Victini comes out, I can go into my Diancie and get my Stealth Rocks up if she would have gone for that play, but she does go into the Sylveon, goes, well, doesn't go for anything yet, but she's able to get the lead seed recovery because I'm affected by them. Able to gain good amount of health back because I am max HP, and based on that she will be gaining good amount of health, but she is not revealed to have leftovers on it. So I'm curious if this happens to be a choice specs variant or choice luck by any means, like a random choice sculpt to surprise me, but it shows to have a wish on it. So I'm like, okay, based on the damage it's max HP, based on the fact that it's running wish, it's probably not choiced, and based on that I don't see leftovers, I'm curious if it was or it is a Kebia berry at this point. That was something that I thought, like, immediately at this point, that like that okay makes a lot of sense. But either way, I'm perfectly fine of staying in here and kinda get more noise about this and try to force it to potentially go for the heal bear, as she will be going for that right now. Which kinda sucks that she does have it over like a hidden power fire for my scissor, but either way I'm fine with this, because I can still put the Toxic back on it. And eventually, if she tries to stay in, she's gonna be losing this 1-in-1 extension. But I'm not gonna be banking on doing that just right now. I'm gonna be actually make the swap into Bob at this point, because in a hindsight, I want to force this thing out and go for the Poison Jab and see that if it does have the Kebia berry or not. And we are gonna be seeing that the Mandibus is gonna be coming in here, and we are gonna be actually, spoiler alert, able to get a poison, because Bob is a freaking champion yet again like last week, and we are able to get lucky and bad here a little bit with the poison, and she reveals to have Rocky Helmet on it, and by the looks of it, I would guess it's more so physically defensive at this point, at least for the most part, based on the damage that it took from the poison jab from my Bob, and based on the item that she revealed by the Rocky Helmet. Now she goes for the Konoko, which I thought, like, okay, that's perfectly fine. I can go into Diancie, even though I lose leftovers, which kind of sucks, because that's one form of recovery on it. I still do have the Wish passing through Alamomola, which I can utilize if necessary. And I really just want to get my Stealth Rocks up off the chance she does not pack defog on it. If she does, I can eventually force it to go for that, and because the regular poison is on it, and I have the power gem as my attacking move, she cannot really stall me out, even if she had the toxic on it and was able to land it, because we do also pack the heal bell on this Diancie. So I do go for the power gen off the chance she would be making the play to go for the defog as a last ditch effort to keep the field clean for her Victini. But she does happen to go for the roost, and this is kind of where it sucks that I don't have Moonblast. I do actually pack Protect as my fourth move to burn a potential C move from a Victini by scouting it, and Low Punny taking a high jump kick recall by failing to do that when I go for the Protect. But here I do go for the heal bell, as the Mandy boss did go for the roost and then swapped out into the Shaymin instead. But thankfully, because she swapped out, that gave me that free heal bell at this point. And now when the Shaymin comes in, you know what mod is coming, and it's gonna be Moltremort, which does not care about this Shaymin by any means, and we do get the pressure ability yet again activated, of course, as she goes for the aromatherapy on this thing. So she brought 2 clerics for this battle, and at this point I was a little bit iffy on that. Okay, I need to find a way to get my Dragalsi back healthy, because clearly, because she some reason brought 2 clerics, I thought Sylvia with heal bell made a lot of sense potentially, but I did not anticipate the Shaymin as well to run aromatherapy. I did not think she is that worried about the status for my team, but she happened to be, through her prep that we are able to tell right now by being revealed. So at this point I'm kind of playing the long-term game plan here, try to PP stall at least one of these mons, heal bell or aromatherapy, either from Sylvian or from the Shaymin, or be able to eliminate one of them. Therefore that the toxic plan that I have with Dragalsi will come into fruition, and able to beat this game or beat her at this point. But the unfortunate situation right now is that I do realize that I have to find an opening to get a wish pass into my Dragalsi as well, because I found that the Super Fang extension that I had to take from that Electros is hurting me a little bit, because I don't have the Dragalsi healthy enough to switching on any of her attacking moves, barring a Shaymin's uninvested air slash if it happens to be not offensive in itself. So now, after Moltres and Sylvian doing the similar things as you have been able to tell so far, and at this point I realized, okay, I want to go into Bob. If she would have gone for the heal bell, I'm fine going for a knockoff to get rid of its item, or I could have taken the Hyper Voice and eaten the Figgy Berry, meaning that I would have gone for the recycle from the following turn. But I do go for the knockoff as the Mega Lopunny comes in on that knockoff. So I'm like, okay, that was a very aggressive prediction from her, but good on her. But it doesn't really matter, because I do have the Kanye West, the Alamomola coming in here and taking that Fake Out plus the Facade, which she reveals to have, I would guess, for the potential Scalp Burn that I could go for, or a Flame Body Burn from a Moltres. But because I have pressure on it, thank God, we don't have the Low Punny having a boosted Facade, which would be 140 base power when it would be status. But at this point, actually, I wasn't too afraid of that, because I do go for the Toxic, sort of like predicting her to be forced to swap out. And even at that point, even she would have gotten a boosted Facade, I could have taken 2 of them, and I could have gone for the Toxic, and then for Wish, and then gone for a Protect, for example, stall out that Mega Low Punny based on the self. But because the Victini comes in, I'm like, okay, Victini, you have to take Stealth Rocks, you have to take this Toxic, and now I go for the Protect to force a turn of recall from that Toxic and see what is your attacking move versus me, because I feel like you're a little bit on a corner to try to break through this Alamomola and maybe try to be a little bit desperate to try to see that I would stay in versus it. But we do go into Bob the Alola Mark, which is a perfect counter for a special Victini that she revealed to have at this point. And that Thunderbolt did nothing to Bob, and Bob is like, I'm gonna get that berry back, son, I'm feeling hungry. And she is trying to burn me or crit me potentially with the Blue Flare, but neither of them happens, because Bob is freaking champion yet again, and we are able to get the berry back up. And here I'm predicting that, okay, even if she is swapped out, I don't really care, and I do predict her to stay in and go for the crit or a burn yet again, but Bob can take both of them very easily, and she wasn't able to get a crit. and we are able to recycle the berry back up, which we just ate after taking the hit, and we are basically around the same range of health that we came in versus this victim, if not even a higher amount of health. So back-to-back weeks, Alola Mach was able to 1v1 a Korean Black and a Victini of all things. Did not even die to them and gain health versus them. So Bob is a freaking champion, man. I could kiss your slimy forehead at this point. Like, you've been so amazing for me lately here on the UBL Season 3, but we're gonna avoid that situation to be done for either of us sake. But either way, moving on with the battle, the Manibus does come in and try to go for the knockoff versus the Alola Mach. Try to get rid of the berry, but there's no reason for allow her to do that. So I go into DyeItTight, which is already being knocked off, and I can go for the power gems versus this thing, as she tries to go for the Roosted again. And I do get the fact that I'm kind of losing out on the fact that I don't have a Moonblast to hit this consistently super effectively. But the fact that Roost has less PP than Power Gem, she won't be able to 1v1 me necessarily too well. Because even if she goes for the Toxic and force me to go for Heal Bell, and I have less Heal Bells than Toxic, I still have the Wish passing support from my Alomomola to get this thing back to full. So eventually, if we have to play this long game, I'm ready to play that, and I have a plan to win that extension. But before that, I do want to see that if she is afraid of Greninja's potential Ice EMC or Ice Beam in general. So you're gonna be able to tell that I do actually swap into it, and I figured that I'm relatively free to go into that. I didn't expect it to go for Knockoff on that point. And now I do anticipate it to go into Sylveon to scout for the Ice EMC or a Ice Beam in general. But she does stay in, and because she stayed in, I was like, okay, well, I go back into DyeItTight expecting a Knockoff or Toxic. And based on that, because DyeItTight is already affected by the status and already being knocked off, I don't mind either of them. And here I do make the longer term plan that I have to eventually do versus this Mandiboss, which is going to my Alomomola, go for the Toxic, give up potentially on my Rocky Helmet item, because the Lopan is already so low for my Scout Greninja to revenge kill it with a either for Surf or Extra Sensory. I'm okay for her potentially knocking me off or getting a Toxic off if I can get my own Toxic off on her, but I do miss it. So I'm like, Kanye, open your eyes, please, open your eyes. It's literally right there, that fat bird landed. Why do you miss? Why you hit like on the left side or on the right? Kanye's efforts right now. But either way, we do miss that Toxic, and it kind of sucks, but I do go for the Wish, and this is a key turn, because right now I'm making a small risk right here, banking on the fact that she is not going for a Earth Power or a attacking move. So I get my Dragalsi in and go for gaining the Wish from this Alomomola, but she does make a double. So this is a perfectly free turn for me. I didn't have to risk anything on this point, because she didn't force me to do that by attacking me by any of her attacking moves on that Shaymin. We got Dragalsi back at full and Dragalsi back into this game, and because we are timid nature with Poison Palm, we can two-shot this with physical defense in Mandiboss, and even if she goes for the knockoff and we lose the item, she will be in a range of dying to this. And based on the fact she never defogged, there's no chance that she had it at this point, and she would have died to rocks even if she tried to preserve that thing. So we got rid of the biggest nuisance that she brought versus us, based on how the teams were built. And now the Shaymin comes in, reveals to have Earth Power as its last ditch of effort move. I thought she would try to go for an Air/Flinch, so that's why I stayed in. Did not anticipate it not to have a Crash Stab versus my team of one and have Air Slash and Earth Power as its attacking moves, but that was the case. But thankfully, because of our natural bulk, we did leave that. I did calculate just in case if we had it for whatever reason, and I more leaned towards to the fact that I didn't want to even scout for that to save its health. I wanted to kill it if we had it, and now Dragalsi is a low amount of health, but it was able to kill both Mandiboss and Shaymin and open the door for the late game being pretty much clear for us to be able to shut it down, because the two mons remaining are Sylveon and the Mega Lopunny. For Sylveon, we have the Moltres still alive, we have Bob alive, We have Dragalsi to go for a last ditch effort or slot bomb or Venus shock depending on the situation. And for the Mega Lopunny, we still have Scarf Greninja with Extra Sensory and Alamomola still at full health, though toxic, but still at full health with the Rocky Helmet. So unless something weird happens, we should be able to close this one out. At this point, I just got the toxic off, get it on a timer, and then hopefully she will realize the fact that she cannot beat this 1-and-1 situation at this point. So she is gonna be going for the consistent hyper voices here, as I just go for the flamethrowers at this point. I didn't feel like I needed to go for the roost, even though in a hindsight I could have had, just to make sure that even a return for Mega Lopunny, if it would happen to carry it, I would be outside of range of that. But I felt a little bit not needed to track this out any further, so I wanted to close this battle out as quickly as possible. So you're gonna be able to tell that we are able to kill the Sylveon, third kill of the game by a status move of Toxic, which kind of tells the kind of approach that I took on this game, but you can tell how efficient it was versus her, and this is why we took the Semestar route. And now the final mod that she has remaining is going to be Alomomola's designated thing to check. That is going to be the Mega Lopunny. I don't know why I went to try to explain it that way around. I could have said that the last mod remaining is Mega Lopunny and Alomomola is being counter to it, but for whatever reason I just messed it over my head. I kind of potatoed right there, to be perfectly honest. But either way, speaking of potatoing, now Alamomola decides to start to get potatoing over here and messing around with our 6-0 potentially, because it's gonna be getting back-to-back crit. Stop feeling so soft on this Mega Lopunny. First you miss your Toxic, and then you start getting back-to-back crit by a Train Punch by Mega Lopunny. Now it's actually been able to gain a little bit of health until you actually did that attacking move by Liquidation, which I demanded you to do. But now I want you to swap out, because you're not able to give us a 6-0 if you would have stayed there. So I'm banking on the fact that the Moltremort, which has been a champion of this game, honestly, and the MVP so far, I want it to finish this game out. As long as it doesn't have return anymore, I would bank on the fact, based on that it has Fake Out, Train Punch, and Facade, I would think the last one would be Ice Punch for my Gliscor. And now I bank on the fact that she doesn't have return, and she does not seem to have it because she went for the Facade. So I'm like, okay, this should be the game. Moltremort is able to claim the last kill with the flamethrower, and that is going to be a good game to SareneGrace. I do feel a little bit bad about the way I had to play that game and the approach that I took, and because how it kind of dragged out to be a longer game. But like I explained on the team build, I figured that it was my best approach versus her team, and I did want to mix it up for my future opponents to have to be worried about dealing with this kind of team if I happen to bring versus them in the future. So unfortunately, SareneGrace have to be on the wrong side of the things, and thankfully for me it worked out in a maximum result of us getting a 6-0 over her, which does help us to get into 4-2 and plus 17 differential, which is huge after having that rocky 1-2 and plus 0 differential. Now, after having those rocky first 3 weeks, our last 3 weeks have been a 5-0, a 6-0, and now another 6-0. So this is looking fantastic for us after how things started for us to make the playoff push. So I'm very happy, but we cannot stop it from here. We still have 4 more games to go, and the next one will be us facing DeathlyiAm, and he's, I don't remember his team name, it was something Troppies. Either way, we are going up against him next week. Hopefully we can keep up the momentum, and thank you all for watching. Make sure to check out my opponent and the people that I shouted off from Automatthic for recording the game, and SlackOut for the graphics yet again. Make sure to do that, I would really appreciate it. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and ring a bell if you really want to make sure that you won't be missing out the action on next week for the week 7 versus the DeathlyiAm, like I mentioned. But now it is time to end out the video. So yet again, thank you all for watching, and until next time, I'm gonna be seeing you guys later.